Hello fellas and fellarettes, it's Gav with another workbench update, this time following my 10 mils project. These are for the League of Augsburg period, so we're looking 1680s, well you could stretch it 1670s up to early 1700s, 1715, something like that. But specifically these are for the war in Ireland and the Low Countries and the brief uprising up in Scotland. The regiment on the left in the browny red is Sir Percy Kirks' regiment of foot. These are based for the Beneath the Lily Banners rules made by Warfare Miniatures. You can check them out on their blog, League of Augsburg blog. They do lots of good posts and they do anything from this type of period, and they're doing the Great Northern War I believe as well. So what have we got? So the Sir Percy Kirks regiment, they fought at Sedgemoor, actually fought ironically for King James, obviously when he was still in power, and defeated Monmouth, or helped to defeat Monmouth. English regiment, they're based on 6 to a base, sometimes 5, depending on the command stands what I want to fit in. But roughly they work on 6 to a base, I believe, for the rules. The base themselves, what look like parking bollards in front of them, which I'm assured weren't around in 1690s. They're actually cocktail sticks cut up to make it look like tree stumps, and I've done that just to show a bit of difference really, and show some cleared timber, whether it was for campfires or for maybe some siege lines. The rocks are my usual cork, which I use more or less on every scale. So they've got green facings. I've tried to do the facings, and in some of the regiments I'm painting the colours brighter. It was a bit hard to do with Kirks because they have a very muddy bricky red jacket, so it was a bit harder to go too bright. But I've used game colours for the where I can. And rather than using my usual off-whites and that for like the tape around the hats, I've gone for straight bright white, anything to show up on 10 mils on the table really. Some guys will say the colours Kirks are showing aren't the correct ones for the period. It's a bit of a minefield. They were changing like the weather really, so I'm happy to stick with those. The colours themselves are from Pendragon Miniatures, the same as the figures themselves. There's no flash on them, bit of mould lines, but nothing horrendous. More or less clean them off from around the hats and you're good to go really. And obviously clean up slightly bit on the officers' spittoons and that. Drummers you can't really see. I'm not going to start dragging them all forward because there's just a disaster waiting to happen with the way I'm holding the iPad. But the drummers in obviously reverse colours, reverse facings. Pike block behind. The poses for these are really nice poses, quite relaxed, and like soldiers throughout history, even if it's on your side, if it's happening to somebody else rather than you, good. Obviously if things are happening at your front, bad. So these guys are quite relaxed, nothing's happening at their front, they're just watching the world go by really, and shooting the breeze. So I'll put them turned around having a chat, and the same with the pikes in the background. On the right here we have the Earl of Drogheda's regiment on the Irish establishment. However, I believe they were mainly English, recruited into the ranks. Now these are obviously in a firing line, again some cracking poses. Both these ones I'm using as well, they're made by Pendragon to be matchlock men, with a slow burning match fuse that you'd see in English Civil War. To be honest with you, a lot of them use the apostles still, even after not abandoning the matchlock, so I can't see why, if they weren't carrying matchlocks at this period, these particular regiments I'm quite happy to say they're firelocks, just using apostles for the gunpowder. So I'm not going to throw a track over matchlocks and firelocks at this period. yeah, so Drogheda's mainly English. They fought in the Low Countries for King William. Again, the pipe block again is looking a bit more alert, standing to the front and waiting to protect the musketeers should cavalry appear. These bases, I've just put some rocks on and some different coloured tufts. What I'm trying to do is not make every base the same, if that's possible. So yeah, guys, 1690s, Williamite period as we call it, League of Augsburg. It's a much undervalued period of history to paint. It does have obviously connotations, political connotations that are with us to this day, which I'm not going to go into, which is probably why a lot of people don't touch it, I suppose. But I like the period. I've always been interested in it, so I thought I'd have a dabble in these 10mm, and as usual just throw a few regiments together as I go. In the background you can see a few commissions and some more 10mm, and they are the Earl of Meath, and they're another few days away yet from being based. So I hope everything's going well with you guys. Thanks for popping by and taking a look. With Christmas coming up, I hope you have a good one, good holiday, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers fellas and fellarettes, and thanks for stopping by. Cheers.